Here we are. December 14th here, December 15th for many of you. 10 days away from Christmas. Although I'm getting a lot of reports from traders on the naughty list, not on the nice list. Maybe, Edmundo, maybe. So first thing I want to do, thank you for cutting time out to be here live. I know, some of you go through some great efforts. We got Aussies here, we got Brits here. I think I got one of my Dubai traders here. Singapore, I'm looking, Hong Kong. Trinidad, okay. Awesome. All right, so I got three things for tonight. The first thing I want to start off with, let me see if I can pull it up, is just some trades I want to show you. Let me go back to A if I can find it. Well, why won't it let? All right. Boop. All right. So you recognize this as a quick fire setup, RSI, MACD. First thing I want you to notice is this is a trader who had trades here the past week, 10 days, had a few trades. Very busy guy, but got in some trades. And you'll notice here that the XA, CD, essentially the same length, just like a pip off maybe. Pretty cool stuff. You'll notice he's got his 15% line on the chart. You're all seeing this, right? Yeah, it's coming up on my repeat monitor, so it looks like you're seeing it. And so, not worried about the green line because this is a pip club trader. And when price gets anywhere near the green line, he's just going to use harmonic wave convergence to enter the trade. And so here's the setup at the 15-minute chart. And I just got to figure out which is which now. Yeah. So we'll drop down to his 1-minute chart. The green line represents the entry. Yeah, she's playing. And so this is a TAB29 entry. You saw in the previous chart, he drew his 15% line off the scan. And the green line represents his entry. There's his MSL. And you can see here what we have is a convergence. You guys saw a little bit of convergence with harmonic wave convergence. So we have our 30-minute wave in blue, our 15-minute wave in orange, our 10-minute wave in yellow, our 1-minute wave in white. You see the convergence, and then we get the red bars, and we're in the trade. And his goal this week was just looking for 15%. The gold line here is his 15%. Came down past it, started to go back up. He exits the trade. 53 pips in that trade. Notice there were some pretty substantial pullbacks. All right, several times, more gain, more pullback. When you set your goal for 15%, that's what you go for. You either make it or you don't. But with the scans, when you isolate the entry point with harmonic wave convergence, you're going to get a pretty clean entry. Now, we'll talk about early entries and stuff like that next year in January, and how we can get into a trade early by our price D, if you will, being anywhere close to the green line. And if we're early, we're not going to lose. We'll show you how that works next year. So shooting for that 15% line, this one was 53 pips. Roxy, chill. Here's another one. Let me get it in here. Another scan. This one was an exact hit. Roxy, she's hounding me now. All right, another one where the XA and the CD are essentially the same, 15%. Come to our 1 minute chart. Same deal. Notice the harmonic wave convergence looks exactly the same. That's because they will look exactly the same because that's what a convergence is. It's the 1 minute wave converging in the 10-minute wave, converging into the 15-minute wave, converging into the 30-minute wave. These are 30-minute convergences. And they're going to look exactly the same in TAB29. Looks just like the previous one. He's got his entry. Notice his stop loss up here. Comes back, even goes a tip below his entry. Stop loss back here. No big deal. He's going for the 15% line. This doesn't scare him. Why? Because he's playing the percentages. He's going for the 15%. Price comes down, tags through. We see our morning star, which means reversal. Star's pulling back up, he exits. 21 pips. You won't be restricted to 15-minute scans. No, it's a 15-minute scan. Here's another scan. Same deal. He's got his CD. He measures the 15% line as his target. In this case, it was a smaller scan, but he still got 9.5 pips out of it. These are trade station prices. He's using 3 pips. Well, 10-3. Once again, nothing new. All the waves push up. We wait for them to come down. Wait for the bars to turn red. After the 1 minute wave comes down, we've got our trade. He's going for 15%. It comes down, starts going back up. He exits the trade, 9.5 pips. Couple things I want to point out on this scan. Oh, not the one. Not the one. Actually, I will go here. So remember the first scan. You notice a couple things here. He did continue to stay with the trade just to watch it. And he had a setup. You'll notice the nice bounce off the median line. But he did get out at 15%. Here's another scan. This time he marked a zone on here. He had some other support and resistance that he found. And I won't say what this is right now, but we'll talk about it in a few minutes. The top of this line represented the green line. The top of this box represented the green line. So you saw it went past it. Of course, the scan moves with it. Erroneously, it should not. Once again, the entry, O-ring, same old, 30-minute wave, 10-minute wave, 1 minute wave, comes to a convergence, leaves the convergence with green bars. We have our trade. See his 15% line, price comes up, missed it by like half a pip, 24.4 pips. I left this as 9.5. I left the 5 off. This one's 24.4, so I'm going to call this one 25, borrowing the 0.5 from the 9. Notice what happens in here. Price is moving up, price is moving up. Look at that pullback. He's not sweating any bullets. Why? Because he's going for the 15% line. Why? Because you should get there 89.33% of the time when you have the D correctly located, which we're getting with harmonic wave convergence. How did he know to exit early? Because he was already up 24.5 pips. He was a half pip from the line. So he said, I'm not going to stay in here any longer. That's why. Sometimes you just trade logically. You say, I'm not, see, because he's trading these a lot, and when you trade them a lot, you start to see something. There's a reason 15% is noted, because it likes to find it and then turn. So if he's up almost 25 pips, and it's half a pip away, to him it's not worth waiting another half pip to tag it, just in case it decides to turn, a fraction early. Why give up 4 or 5 pips on the turn? His goal is 15%. Another scan. Did the same deal. That gold line was there. I'll tell you in a few minutes what it is. He had a green line in the proximity. I don't know if it was at the start of the box or the end of the box. Not really essential for what we're doing here. And, oh my gosh, he lost one. So he was trying to do the sell. He entered the sell here. Came down, going back up. He gave up pips. All right, he's giving up pips. No big deal. Why? Because he's going for the 15% line. Discipline. No FOMO. No, oh my. No, oh, I think it's going to do this. I better bail now. Stay in until he got stopped out. Pretty steep move. You can see the channel. How wide are the channels? 1836, 1838, 2 pips. So he's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, about 12 pips up. Ends the trade minus 4.2 with spread and commissions. No big deal. He's going for the 15% line. Nope, it's not a wave 2 because it already went higher than the original spot, than the original start. Discipline. It doesn't matter that you look at the trade station and you see 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, trade station, pips, commissions, minus 4.2. But here's the reality. So minus 4. 56 and 21, 77 and 9, 86 and 25 would be 106, 111. Minus 4.2. Discipline and not letting the erosion here get to you. Why? Because it happens so seldom. Most of the time he's getting to 15 pips. 15%. So you just keep doing it. You get stopped out, you get stopped out. Keep going. The risk-reward relationship, the pips gained to the risk in the trade are so great per trade. You know, smallest trade, he had 9 pips. That's 3 to 1, 7 to 1. Almost 20 to 1. 8 to 1. And then you're winning 8, 9 times out of 10. You don't worry about the erosion. You don't, oh, where's, I'm supposed to be break even. No, no, no. If you're going for the median, go for the median. Excuse me. If you're going for 10 pips, you go for 10 pips. If you're going for the 15% line, you go to the 15% line. That's how you trade. This is called discipline. KSP, knowledge of system performance. He knows the winners are there. $111 pips, minus 4, 107 times 2, 20, 21.4% ROI for the last week. Nope, don't need quick fire. Okay, so let me ask you this. Who remembers the introduction to multi-wave? When we talked about the boxes, right? Oh, that 30-minute box, your 15-minute box, slush, maybe 15 by 15, maybe 20, 25, right? 5-minute box, maybe, 7 to 10. 1-minute box, 2 to 3. And so we bring that 30-minute wave that has a 30 pip slush area, and we bring I don't have orange, we bring the 15-minute wave, 15-minute wave that has maybe a 15-minute slush. We bring the 5-minute wave, which has maybe 10 to 7 slush, and we have the 1-minute wave. And so now when we have inside that box, that tight, all those waves converging, we can tell when that 30-minute wave or the 15-minute wave is turning around, typically in a 2 to 3 pip zone. So you have that with harmonic wave convergence in the form of TAB29 right now. Why would you want to give that up for a quick-fire qualification where you have your green line and you might have a 15 pip box around it? Because when price gets to the line, when price gets 4 pips past it, when price gets 11 pips past it, when price gets 15 pips past it, those are all quick-fire qualified. You will have divergence, you will have RSI above 70, and they'll all hit the Bollinger Band. So there's your precision with quick-fire. Here's your precision with TAB29. Which do you want to choose? What's the percentage of that turnaround? Which turnaround? I just said 2 to 3 pips. Have you been at all the sessions? Have you watched all the sessions? We did the session on multi-wave and the intro to harmonic wave convergence. I did this whole box thing. I showed the precision of TAB29 because we're doing multiple time frame analysis. We're bringing this 30-minute wave that has this big slush box around it. What do we mean by slush box? What we're saying is we have an extreme. It's not like RSI 70 where it could be anywhere past it and still be considered overbought. We have one line on the chart in our relative indicator. It's at 89. So when that 30-minute plot hits the 89, it's a turnaround. The trouble is because of slush at the 30-minute level, that spot hitting there could be anywhere within 20 to 25 pips in a zone. The price might actually be there. The price might actually be here. The price might actually be here at those spots in that slushy area, all for this plot hitting right here. That's just because there's slush at the 30-minute level. Jerry, you can't ask the question because you don't know enough. I don't mean to be offensive, but you're coming from the old paradigm. And it doesn't matter. You say it doesn't matter if we're right or wrong here because we're going to win anyway. And you're not ready to understand. It's going to take me hours to teach you that. It doesn't matter whether this happens 20% of the time or 100% of the time. The times it's only 20%, you're not going to lose. You just try again, but you're not going to lose. You'll learn it. It takes time. The 15-minute wave from the 15-minute chart, all plotted in this same indicator, when it comes up and tags the 89, if you're looking at a 15-minute chart, there's about 10, 12 to 15 pips of slush. In other words, every time this wave plot hits the 89, price might actually be here or here or here or here. There's slush. This line, essentially this 89 line, gets magnified. That's the 89 line. There's plenty of places inside the actual price can touch. Not good enough for us to trade. Too much slush. Our 5-minute wave, same thing. When that plot comes up and hits our 89, it could be in a couple of spots inside a 7 to 10 pip box. There's slush. Finally, when a 1-minute wave hits that 89, generally the slush box is only 2 to 3 pips. So we have an accurate enough turnaround zone for us to get in there with our typical 3-pip stop loss. So when we bring all these waves, the 30-minute wave, the 10-minute wave, the 5-minute wave, the 1-minute wave, and we bring it all to one indicator, we bring all those data feeds to one indicator on the 1-minute chart, the turnaround, and when they converge, we've nailed it. Because now we know which of these points inside the 30-minute box is the actual turnaround. Because the 10 and the 5 and the 1 have all converged at the same spot. And we'll see that in the indicator, just as you do here. Where the 30-minute wave is blue, the 10-minute wave is yellow, the 1-minute wave is white. And so we have two separate indicators here. We have the indicator called trend bars, and we have this indicator down here, which we call, these are peak plots. A peak 1, a peak 10, and a peak 30. Actually, the yellow is a power 10, not a peak 10. So these are all our peak indicators. And so when they all converge and our trend bars flip on the pullback, we have our trade. Wait a second, Steve. If he entered, off this high, wasn't there one like over here somewhere? Isn't that a convergence? A 30-minute wave, 10-minute wave's up there, 1-minute wave come down, bars went red right there? Absolutely. So that would have been a trade. Jerry was asking, how often are you right? All right, that would have been the trade. Well, wait a second. How do you know what happened then? Well, as price is moving down, notice our 1-minute wave is coming down. When the 1-minute wave hooks up and we have green bars, which is a contra trend trade, so we're in a sell and we get a signal for a buy, we're out of that trade. So we entered here, it starts pulling back against us, we know to exit here. We end that trade pip positive. +1, +2. It was a failed trade. Did we go -20? Did we go -50? Did we go -100? No, we went +2, +1. You get to swing the bat, and if you're wrong, it still doesn't cost you. Don't worry about trying to learn what I'm showing you right now. I'm just showing you how it works. You'll understand how to read these and the patterns later on. And by the way, so you know, these trend bars are entry and exit only. They're not trend continuation. That's what our plots are for. So these are only at the time of a potential entry. They're a secondary trigger, assuming our primary waves have converged and the 1-minute wave has left them. Then we look to see if the bars have flipped red. Okay. So for quick fire, the challenge is it's a 15-minute system. So with what you already know inherently, you know there's slush at the entry time. In the case of a 15-minute chart, it could be 10, 12 pips, even larger sometimes. Don't worry about it, Tiffany. I'm just pointing out that the trend bars, the red and green bars, are not trend continuation bars. They're only to be used at the time of an entry or a specific exit. Don't worry about it. I'm just showing you what will happen when you use this. You don't try and take notes on how this works tonight. So we have a very precise entry. The only thing you do then is establish a money management scheme for your movement and your exit. And in the case of the examples I showed you, that trader was using the 15% because it has such a high percentage of reversals and being accurate. No, don't even take notes on the replay because I'm not teaching you anything tonight. I'm showing you something. There's a difference. You're not going to learn anything by taking notes tonight. This is just a demonstration of what can be done. These patterns will become very powerful, and if you have a targeted area, it's pretty cool. So I told you I was going to show you something about those lines that were on some of the scans. Yeah, right, Steve. Really? Oh, yeah. So, remember what I said, I guess, the other night in the IML session, where we were talking about how the IML scanner works, and it's not right. It's not pure. And it leads to confusion because you think the D with the scan represents a reversal point, and the only time it represents a reversal point in reality is when it's tagging the green line. So from the time all the algorithms go to work doing their Fibonacci work, and they detect sequenced Fibonacci's one after another, after another, after another, they then know that they can overlay those Fibonacci's, and all, in this case, 4 Fibonacci's will overlay to the pip on this line. That line then, D, becomes a super swing at the line. And as I said the other day, what should happen as price moves up from C is technically the scan can be painted down here, Chris waits till it gets up here at 91% of C to D. But technically it could be painted down here. And when it is, the D point sits on the entry line all the time. That's what's supposed to happen. So when price continues then to move eastbound, all that happens with the plot is the plot always paints directly above price. So it would stretch that wing out. As price continues to move up and eastbound, the scan continues to paint, should paint automatically. Whoops. Sorry about that. And it'll paint right on the entry line, right immediately above price. When price finally gets to the line, to the entry line, they will then meet. And we have what looks like a successful scan. And what should happen if price leaves that line and starts coming down, the scan stays right there. And it hard sets the D on the horizontal there. The scan does not come back down because price has left the D. If price gets to the line, price gets to the line and goes past it, what should happen is the D, again, stays frozen there. And at that point, once you get a couple pips away from the line, if something else turns the price, well, if the price reverses there, it has nothing to do with the scan. IML tricks you and leads you to believe the scan is still at play because it moves that D up. Well, guess what? What just happened to, you guys are being lulled. Your sensory information gateways are being lulled. You're not paying attention to what's going on. Because what really happens on that D? Don't you remember? There's a line that goes across the page from X to D. And inside that line, in the middle of it usually, there's a little box. And what that box is, the Fibonacci percentage at play between X and C and D. And if you look at your pattern, let's say this is a crab. If you look at your cheat sheet for a crab, you will see that the XCD is whatever, 1.272, which means this D can actually rise up just a little bit and the scan still be viable to turn it around. But once that box gets to 1.273, you no longer have the scan because the Fibonacci's are not correct. I'll let you draw your own conclusions about why they elect to do that. But I will tell you, if you go back in history, because the way they do it, and the way they move the D until it actually reverses, oops. tool is being persnickety tonight. If you go back in history and look, oh my, every one of the IML scans are so good that they always predict where price reverses. Every scan in history, price reverses right at the end of the scan. That's one hot scanner, man. What you need to realize is the entry line is the entry line. Typically, once you go above it, the Fibonacci percentages are out of whack for that pattern, and therefore it's not a valid pattern. And therefore, if you have something up here that you see price reverse, remember price cannot reverse in black space. Something has to be bumping into it. Price has to be bumping into something. So there's some other support and resistance up here that's causing that reversal. It is no longer the scan. I want to go hoarse saying that. Yeah, I know, Tim. It is something else. So, let's rewind the videotape a little. What this trader and I have been talking about is, I want you to pay notice, what color is this line that he's using for his 15%? What color is it? What do you see on your screen for color? Gold? Looks gold. Could be yellow. Off cream, orange, gold. All right. What color is this line? It's the exact same color. If you said gold before, you better say gold now. If you said yellow before, you better say yellow now. You know, whatever you called it before, it's the same line. What we're saying is, if in this scan that's miraculously built by 4 Fibonacci's, if we get a 15% pullback that stops price and reverses it back out, that's got to be a pretty strong line. Do you think its resistance ends right there? I hope you realize it doesn't. So what you have here on this chart is a gold line from some other scan in the immediacy where that gold line was that scan's 15% line. And so he's projected it over, and it happens to fall in this zone, you know, past the green line on down. So it's a point of relevance in case price gets past the green line and continues down. It may be a reversal point. So once that has been identified in the previous move as potentially strong, based on a previous scan in the immediacy, it has potential to still be powerful now. Pretty cool. Oh my God, Steve, this is too much. Oh my God, Steve, this is overwhelming. Oh my God, Steve, I'm only on module 3 of pitchforks. Yeah, I know, so I figured you'd be around to answer all the questions. Nah. Yeah, they just don't know that's coming yet, Glenn. Less than 398. I was telling somebody the other day that they're not paying attention to the sliders, and they came back and said, what do small hamburgers have to do with trading? All right, so yes, that's why the green line moves, because they'll remember some of these patterns have 2 or 3 of the same Fibonacci's. It's the final move to C, and where it is, that'll change the Fibonacci. It could actually change the pattern. And if the pattern changes, then guess what? The line's going to move. Good point. But that's what happens. It's not that the green line moves. It's the pattern is different. All right, so tonight we talked about slush with quickfire. Still the best thing going if you don't have real-time tools. But you guys are in here, and TAB29 is going to bring a level of precision. The only thing is you're going to have to earn your use of it, meaning it's not a holy grail as soon as you put it on the chart. There's a lot to learn. So tonight's my last session until, what date am I coming back? For this group? The 11th? Is that that's a Thursday night. So Thursday night the 11th. So about 3.5 weeks. So what that means is you're going to have plenty of time over the holidays to go through your TAB29 training. Ho, 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 Merry Christmas. So, here's the deal, guys. I need you to step up mentally. Most of you have done a really good job with this. Most of you, and I'm honest here, and Zoe could tell you, Tim Packus could tell you, Richard could tell you. Who else is in here? I don't think anybody else right now. Glenn. You have to commit to the long haul. You did that. I warned you. You did that up front. I told you it was going to come at you fast and hard. It has. And now you're going to jump into TAB29 with very little instruction on multi-wave and very little instruction on harmonic wave convergence. I'm trying a different approach. You will be more bogged down and overwhelmed than my Pip Club traders, but my Pip Club traders had a long wind-up to get to TAB29, and it wasn't available when they started. You're going to have to persist. You're going to get lost. It's okay to be lost. You're going to be overwhelmed. It's okay to be overwhelmed. I'm not saying goodbye to you forever. I'm saying goodbye to you for a couple of weeks. You will be discouraged. You will think this is too overwhelming for you to handle. Persist anyway. We have a Facebook group. I would not recommend binge watching this training. There's 10 modules and 3. I've got a 4th one I've just added. It's not on here yet. It's a shorter one. So there's 14 modules today, 10 in the basic training and then some bonus videos. It's going to take a strong head game. I'm going to lose some of you here. It's unfortunate, but it's going to happen. I'm going to lose some of you here because you're going to feel it's too overwhelming. How will I ever get through this? It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. It's a marathon. Do not share this link with anybody. If I even sense from 5,000 miles away you've shared this link, you will be gone from the group faster than you know, because this group is a little bit of experiment. You got this at a song. And Zoe and Richard and Tim and Glenn can tell you that. So what I will very often do when I reference this website is in the website itself, in this little part here where it says 38564, I need to give you a key, and that key right now is 17. And what that means is you may see this site referenced publicly somewhere, but it'll be referenced as pipclub.com/tab29-, and it could be anywhere, 3817564. It might be 3856174. You will notice a common thread. There's a 17 that doesn't belong in there. That is your key. So when I post it publicly, I'll post it like this and say, if you're a TAB29 trader, just use your key to decipher the website so you don't forget. Yeah, kind of, Zoe, in a big way. All right. Now, when I come back, sometime over the holiday, I'm not going to tell you when. I'll tell you when I tell you. How's that? Sorry, my head is mush. It's been a long day. I got tons to do yet, and I'm bugging out here in a handful of hours for about 800 miles. So, you've got the training, and sometime on my break, sometime before January 11th, could be January 10th, sometime after today, after the 14th of December, but before January 11th, inside TradingView, I will authorize you for the TAB29 indicators. I want you to go through the training, but I don't want you to sprint through it. You got 3 weeks. Let's see. 10 and 3 is 13. Call it 14 with the one I'm going to put up. So about 4 modules a week would get you done before January 11th. 4 to 5 modules a week have you done? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's way too many. What did I say? 315 divided by 3 is 5. Yeah, no wonder it didn't work out. Do the math. Crack myself up. There we go. Now we got it right. No, I'm just punch drunk, Tim. It was late night and long sessions today, and I've got a laundry list 3 pages long to get ready for this trip. All right. Did everybody take a screenshot? Ow, 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 ow. Oh, got to release. Maybe not. Well, doesn't change the URL. Yeah, it'll be sometime tomorrow afternoon before I get there. Yeah. The link doesn't work. Yes, it does. All right. So, ho, ho, ho. Ladies of the night, ladies of the night, ladies of the night. Did you? Did it work, Tiffany? Did you get them on it? Yeah, good. I'll tell you the best one. If you really want to have fun, if you really want to get somebody, now you have to be a little bit of an extrovert. You have to push it. Here, you want to learn how to get out of your comfort zone? Do this. When you're at a point where somebody says, somebody you're just meeting, could be a clerk at a store or something, and it's best to do when there's a couple people around, that's when it's a little bit more fun, and they say, "You look familiar, do I know you?" You look at them and said, "I don't know, you might, I used to do porn." Yeah, Tim says he still does. I was at a large auto parts store / repair shop, and one of the girls that is a kind of a clerk there used to cut my hair several years ago when I first moved to California, and she got into the auto industry after that, I guess. So she did recognize me from something legitimate, but she was standing there behind the counter, and the store manager was there, and she said, I know you from somewhere. So I used to do adult movies. And she looked at me kind of funny, and the manager looked at me, and he just cracked up. He just cracked up because he just, I got her hook, line, and sinker. Yeah, it's a good one. I used to do adult movies. Yeah. And they're like, "What? Oh, no. No, that's not it. That's not where I know you from." All right. So, you guys have your assignment, okay? That doesn't mean not go through the Pitchfork course one more time. That doesn't mean don't go through Quickfire and Charlie Delta one more time. No, not tonight, Ms. Zoe. I will be around via Facebook, But when it comes to pitchforks, when it comes to TAB29, Zoe, Glenn, Tim Packus, Richard, they all have a real good handle on TAB29. I wouldn't hound them, but if you get stuck, and really mean stuck. Now remember, you're not trying to learn to trade, you're just getting the overview. We will go through your questions when I come back. And what you need to do is write down your question in a way that if I need to, I could check it. I have a question on Module 3 at 5 minutes and 27 seconds. You said. Now we could go see what you're questioning. Okay? Because traders have a tendency to ask questions because they know what they're saying, but the person trying to read it is clueless because we just don't understand, you know. All right, so I'm going to wind it down and on a cautionary note and a sad note. You know how I always say at the end of my sessions, life can be short. So about 2 days ago, heard a big bang. My neighbor goes flying across the front yard of my house. I'm one house down from the entrance into our subdivision, and then that entrance is on. I hate to call it a highway, but it is. It's 2 lanes in each direction. And there was a car wreck, literally. I'll show you. Here's the big highway. You come. I'm on a crossroad in. Just there's no houses here. It's so short. And then right here, there's a house here, and there's a house here. And this accident was right here. A 76-year-old woman in a Mercedes-Benz traveling down this way was trying to make a left-hand turn onto the street to come into our subdivision. And I don't know what she was doing, but she overlooked 2 kids in a car coming here. And so they T-boned her right in the middle of her left-hand turn. Both of them died, 18 and 20. 18-year-old, right literally a mile down the street from the school Dallas used to go to when he was in 9th and 10th grade. Right before Christmas, you know, Dallas and I were talking about it's the most innocent little thing. They didn't do anything wrong. And she just must have been blind or not thinking. And it was just a timing situation, you know, 1 second earlier, 1 second later, it wouldn't have happened. But she was there. They T-boned right in the side of her. Of course, her car not damaged that much. She wasn't that hurt because they got her on the passenger side. But they were in a little tiny Acura. And I just think about a Christmas tree sitting there with gifts for those kids and how hard that is on the family right now. Of all times. It's always hard, but of all times. Anybody that came out, there are hundreds of people by the time, you know, the ambulances, roads were closed off in all directions. And everybody was crying. You know, it's just sad. We never know when our moment's going to happen, guys. We never do. And here we are at Christmas on top of it. So I will conclude, sorry on a somewhat sad note, but on a reflective note, life can be short. So for those people you care and love, let them know you care and love them. I love you guys. I will see you next year. And I can't wait for 2018 because it's going to be an explosive and spectacular year for each one of you guys. I'll be around on Facebook. Y'all have a happy holiday. Peace to you. Spend some time with family. Make it warm. even if you live in the northern hemisphere where it's nice and cold. Love you guys. I'll see you.